was surely a very difficult decision, as we shall see as the two teams line up. We see Steve Bruce waiting to lead out Manchester United. Their manager, Alec Ferguson, has only really had to make one decision about his lineup. But as we look to the left, it's John Polston who leads out Norwich City. And if you're a Norwich City supporter, that will tell you that John Dean has left out the club captain, Ian Butterworth. Polston, who's been out for 11 games with ligament problems in his left ankle, is restored. The other decision that Dean had to make was whether to restore Efa Nakoku to his starting lineup, and he's decided to leave him on the bench as at Upton Park on Monday.
Well, I think the introduction of John Polston is probably because he'll be happier playing perhaps on that right flank if he gets pulled out to Mark Giggs. Woodthorpe on number 8 is also previously been a fullback, so can go out onto Kanchelskis, and it's a case really of Goss and Bowen, the two wide flank midfield players, making sure that they occupy United in attacking situations rather than being hauled back defensively.
The one decision for Alec Ferguson has again gone against Brian McClare, who scored the only goal at Portsmouth on the League Cup route to Wembley in midweek, but who doesn't keep his place. Mark Hughes, who was suspended on that occasion, is restored at number 10, and no changes in the way that United will play, surely.
Well, I think that formation is getting very sort of familiar, isn't it, to everyone, and certainly to the opposing managers. How do we stop it? And it's a great problem. I wouldn't have thought Norwich would man Mark Cantona, and as I say, personally, I feel Kanchelskis and Giggs in the opening sort of weekend of the season when Manchester United won here, certainly the width was the key problem for Norwich to solve, and I think that's something that they'll have to solve if they are going to get a result here at Carrow Road.
There are always little ironies in football, and here is one. John Dean, it's his 4th match in charge. He's yet to lose, incidentally, and he's being masked by a couple of the younger members, but he finds today in the opposition one of his best friends in the game, Steve Bruce. They were together in the side that won the Milk Cup for Norwich City back in 1985, and John finds his old chum as a stumbling block to his ambitions. Man in charge is Paul Durkin from Portland in Dorset. The wind has dropped a little bit. It's a chilly afternoon, but conditions pretty ideal for football, provided the wind doesn't increase in any way. Pitch looks a little softer and has had rather more wear than when we were here for the European competition. And it says something, I think, of Norwich City, that their players are now as familiar as those of Manchester United as a result of that fine attempt in European competition for the first time.
Well, John Dean's made a very early tactical switch to combat that wing play of Giggs and Kanchelskis. He's switched Mark Bowen to play as right back today to Mark Giggs, and he's got then Woodthorpe as a left-back marking Kanchelskis, and Polston, Newham and Culverhouse are 3 central defenders, so he's playing 5 at the back with Bowen and Woodthorpe pushing in on the 2 wingers that caused them so many problems here in the opening weekend of the season.
Interesting. He's having to learn quickly, as John Dean. Sutton, Goss, only just back in the side. He's had a calf injury, came back at Upton Park on Monday after missing 8 games. Bruce, good challenge. And here's Welshman against Welshman. Bowen and Giggs. Mark Bowen is pretty quick and knows that Giggs is arguably just half a notch quicker. Parker. Keane makes the forward run. Parker, two waiting in the middle. One of them is Hughes. First corner conceded by Rob Newman. Giggs to take. Paniston near edge, gets a bit of a flick. Up again by Newman. Fox with time to look up now. Newman's got well forward on this right side, but it's a poor ball and takes Newman out of the play. Good challenge by Crook. Ince. Paul Ince, who might just be Terry Venable's first name on his first England sheet. Goss. Free kick given against Hughes. Crook and Ince were the two that followed up. Referee right on top of it.
Goss, certainly Crook and Megson are staying quite close together in midfield, and that's why it'll enable the two fullbacks, and here we've got Woodthorpe who can push forward.
Megson. It got deflected, which is enormously lucky for Ian Crook, because he really didn't set his sights at all correctly. So one corner apiece at the start. Bright sunshine down at Peter Schmeichel's end. Fox almost stole it. Sutton. Megson asked too much. Gary Megson, who's now John Deehan's number 2. Youngest partnership in the Premiership. And that's not easy to say. Ince. 5th cup meeting in the FA Cup between these two. City lead by 3-1. United's success was back early in the century, 1906. Ince. And a little bit of a problem going on involving Roy Keane. Gary Megson calms it down, and the referee wants to talk. Way away from the action, and a yellow card shown to Roy Keane. And the free kick given to Norwich City. It was way away from the play. There's a little bit of running forward, and then a check out, and confrontation with Crook. It's rather boiled over. It's surprising from the Irishman.
It wasn't worth really getting excited about and getting booked for, that's for sure.
Certainly wasn't going to top any boxing bill. Cantona, first touch. Giggs' wasn't as good. Newman, rather driven at Fox. Good touch, Crook. Fox, Ron Bowen, Bruce, Dennis Irwin. Good cover, Mark Bowen. He's going to have a good game if Norwich City are to win this. Well won by Culverhouse. Almost got the balloon at the same time. Goss. Caught by Paul Ince. It was fairly minor, but sufficient for a free kick. Here's Culverhouse. One of the beauties for Norwich, Trevor, is how they, even when they change the personnel, give them slightly different roles, they still keep a basic shape.
Well, they've just got good passing habits, haven't they? Where they're probably going to sort of lack a little bit is width today, and what I think you'll find is Manchester United, once they get themselves sorted out how Norwich are playing, will try and use Irwin and Parker, because they're going to be the spare men, because they've got no one to mark.
Offside flag is up against Kanchelskis. And Mark Bowen's absence getting forward on the left, I mean, actually taking on people in the last third, he's probably better at that than Woodthorpe.
Well, he is, and I mean, Woodthorpe and Bowen are going to have to push forward if they can, but you know, Chelsea's Giggs are so good on the counter-attack that they're going to be cautious, and so you do worry that Sutton and Fox will get sufficient support to really worry the United defence.
Parker. Culverhouse across. Face in the crowd. Once the man at the helm here, not so long ago, Mike Walker. It's missed by Newman, and fortunately for him, also by Hughes.
It was a great cross from Kanchelskis, and Rob Newman nodding to his defenders. Yes, he knows he got caught wrong side. As I say, whipped it in just half a yard. Kanchelskis, there he is on the run, just goes over Newman, and I think, you know, Hughes, with being unmarked, should have got it on target because it was a free header.
Pallister climbing all over Sutton. Crook to take. Looks for Fox. Well ducked out by Pallister. Pallister began his United career playing against Norwich. That was at Old Trafford back in August '89. And he conceded a penalty in a 2-0 defeat. Served them well since. Culverhouse. Oh, nice little flick by Fox. Early for Sutton. Didn't really make the best of it, Chris Sutton. I'm not sure that he appreciated what a good opportunity that was.
Owen did well, having played him onside to get back and put him under pressure. And the ricochet actually could have gone anywhere. And fortunately for United, it went closer to Schmeichel rather than Sutton or Fox.
For the neutral early promise, there have been opportunities on either end. Belongs to Culverhouse, but he changed his mind. He was going to get it before it bounced and then realised it was too far away. 10 minutes gone, useful, but just a bit too long from Giggs. Wind may have played a part in that, curling it back slightly. Good running by Parker. Excellent challenge by Goss. Norwich City ball. No danger. Certainly an afternoon for keeping warm, slightly unusual headdress. More often to be seen in the desert, I would have thought. Oh, well claimed by Keane. Really attacked the wall. Mixon. Challenged by Parker, who attacked ball and man at the same time.
Fox still having to go quite deep to get involved in the game. Norwich, for me, still perhaps got an extra defender more than they need, being the home side, and they're finding it difficult to sustain any pressure on United up to now.
Comfortably by Pallister. Hughes did well. Cantona, Keane, Kanchelskis, Culverhouse. Did well to change his mind, because a pass to Bowen would have found Giggs arriving at the same time as the ball. Foot got round. Changes are tending to concede the initiative to Manchester United. Could be a difficult decision for him to make later, John Dean. Who would he take off to bring a Koku on and get Fox wide? Jeremy Goss. Mark Bowen. Will, of course, try to get forward on the right side, but there's no doubt what his main job is. Megson. Goss, Sutton, Fox, Goss just to the left, but Keane saw that. Not so much on the next page as already on the sequel to the book. Hurt both men. Hughes slightly the more, and he was fouled. The other player was Newman. Kanchelskis. Bit of a dive in by Megson, but he escaped with it. And Fox escaped with the ball. Crook. Offside flag. Fairly predictable. He waited, and Manchester United just waited to move up in unison.
Well, Rolf Fox set up the initial chance out wide on the left, so that when it came to Crook, there weren't many options on. There was only Chris Sutton. Manchester United, we've seen so many times this year, they hold the line so well near the 18-yard box, and Sutton was a couple of yards off.
Mark Bowen. Goss. Crook. Sutton. Good touch. Goss still. Parker covering in behind the central defender as well. But now a bit of space on the left as a result of that. Goss in possession, met by Bruce. Megson. Not a bad strike. Pretty high up on the boot, I suspect. Didn't stand on any ceremony, but it didn't go back enough for him to trouble Peter Schmeichel.
Couple of better moves in the build-up though there, and Jeremy Goss just found himself once or twice further forward, closer to Fox and Sutton. That occupied one or two of the extra United defenders, and they were stretched a bit for the first time.
Offside against Hughes. Mike Walker always said that they wanted to get Goss more and more forward, and he was certainly doing that before the injury, which kept him up. Bowen. Pity, but there weren't too many options, and he was slightly running out of room. We've had 15 minutes of an interesting contest. Culverhouse. Megson. Goss. Megson. Support on the left side from Woodthorpe. Didn't really play the pass. That's a mistake by Schmeichel. Megson, second chance. Well, he's had a three-sighters. Smile from the number 2 here at Norwich. But he tried to play the initial pass while still in full stride, moving off one way and playing it the other, but he didn't really make proper contact.
There was a discussion, I'm not sure in which language, between Schmeichel and Kanchelskis, because of course Schmeichel hit Kanchelskis up the seat there as he tried to clear, and that's what caused the initial trouble.
Foster again climbing over Sutton, who wanted the kick taken quickly. Still wants it down the middle. Bit short. Culverhouse does well. At some cost. Initial pass played him into trouble.
It did, as he laid it off, it was Mark Hughes tackling back, I think, who caught him. As you can see, he just lays it off. Nice Paul Ince coming in after Mark Hughes was on the floor and just caught his ankle.
Problem is the ankle or high on the instep. Robert Chase, the chairman, in the front row. Very big day for his club. So keen to get back into Europe, and they must know that the FA Cup is the best route. But what a bulwark to be put in their way, Manchester United. By Newman. Giggs, first run. Cantona out on the left flank. That's looking for Kanchelskis on the right. Keane, goal! Suddenly there was so much space. And Roy Keane gets his first since November. And nothing that Brian Gunn could do about it. Giggs, who started, had Cantona to his left, found Kanchelskis, whose first touch wasn't great. In came Keane. And into the corner. May have got a slight deflection off the defender.
Magnificent break by Giggs. I mean, that was United, what they've been about all season, the counter-attack. And 3 or 4 men eventually got in the 18-yard box. Kanchelskis knocked it back to Keane. And suddenly, from being on the defensive, they've gone one up.
Kanchelskis. Still, and still, off the bar.
His blistering pace just destroyed 3 defenders there. And actually, Culverhouse went for the tackle, clipped him, and he did very well to stand on his feet. And he thought he was going to score, hit the woodwork, and a second goal then could have been a desperate one for Norwich.
Not good to see him stand on his feet instead of looking for the penalty. None of it even crossed his mind. Keane. Culverhouse. It's the Manchester United supporters chorus. Not too many of them these days would know who Doris Day was, I would think. She was the first to sing that. Well, we've had 20 minutes, and the pass from Giggs, the run by Kanchelskis, the finish by Keane, has changed the match more than somewhat. Barker, Keane, with a bit of room to hit another one. And my heaven, he struck it well.
With his left foot, Gunn wouldn't have got there, would he? But I mean, at the moment, United are totally dominant. In the last 5 or 10 minutes, Norwich have found it impossible to get out of their half. And again, Fox and Sutton look so isolated up front. There's no support for them at all.
Well, this is the goal from the reverse angle. Look at the pass to Kanchelskis. Bounced a little bit off his thigh, but then played it so deftly, and Keane really struck it.
I think probably Norwich were hoping it might have clipped his hand, but it definitely just bounced up off the midriff or the hip there.
As Brian Gunn did come out and was a sort of half protest, but more, I think, from a point of view, and who on earth was marking Kanchelskis?
That's the problem, though. If you're asking your two fullbacks who are marking them to give them the width going forward, when it breaks down and they get behind you, then suddenly there's acres of space, as Giggs and Kanchelskis showed for that goal.
Holston, Crook, forward for Megson, but too far. Well, it worked. Interesting thing is that among many who think that Eric Cantona is the key man, he's hardly touched the ball yet. Offside is Ince, and yet Manchester United are in the lead. He was loitering with intent on the left when Giggs decided to find the Ukrainian instead.
Well, they've filled up the midfield, Norwich, to try and occupy his space, but I mean, you know, Giggs and Kanchelskis, if they're marked, the two get-out people are Irwin and Parker all the time, who've got acres of space, and that's what's given them so much possession.
Hanging a bit. Comes on to Fox. Irwin puts it out of harm's way. Rob Newman has come up on the penalty spot, which moves Sutton further forward. Fox on the back post. Came off Pallister. Sutton on the near edge this time. He didn't quite get it. Peter Schmeichel blocked behind him. It's another corner.
Well, the United defenders having a go at Peter Schmeichel, quite rightly flapped at that.
All back for Manchester United except Kanchelskis. Bowen, Goss, feel for offside and given. The opportunity from the second corner. Knocked down. And then blocked in fact by Ince. Well up Giggs. Plenty of time for Brian Gunn. Man who began his career, Brian Gunn, under Alec Ferguson at Aberdeen. Chris Sutton does well. Crook in a bit of space. Woodthorpe goes forward. Megson, Sutton, still Sutton. Determination from Steve Bruce. The free kick given against the Manchester United skipper. And former favourite here. Now it's just right of centre. Chris Sutton finding something fairly amusing. Opportunity for Ian Crook. Ball is angled at the moment. Tall man at the end of it too. Quite often you don't see that, but the man on the end was Pallister, which had to make it more difficult.
Yeah, an interest, you can see Gary Pallister, who jumps up there, but he is the biggest, so he's got to go over that little bit higher, and Schmeichel was never troubled that that was going to dip under the crossbar.
coaching point to have been noted. It's quite often you find the smallest man in that position, curiously. Paul Parker is free on the right side. Bruce saw him but didn't find him too well. Just a few seconds of play there that Mr. Bruce might like edited out, but we're live, you know. Giggs, still Giggs, and Hughes. That touch didn't help him. Oh, confidence. Suspicion of handball there, but he got away with it. Will Fox. Keane in very determined mood, as he showed at the beginning when he got himself booked. Parker. From behind that caught Megson. Fox and Sutton on the 18-yard line. Bowen coming forward on the right side, but it's too far for him. I'm sure that many clubs playing Manchester United this season, and indeed last season, have felt that they were playing a man short. But in one sense here, Norwich City are exactly in that position.
Yeah, it's a very thoughtful John Dean there, isn't he? I mean, I would have said at the moment the system hasn't worked for him, and it's difficult. Does he wait till half-time? Because he's got Effen and Kuku on the bench, and for me at the moment, they're lacking the extra man up front. They need Fox to give them the width down the right, and I think Kuku would have to come on. And it's a case of when rather than if.
Little flick on, Hughes. Newman's physique was enough. Challenges by Pallister, although the hand belonged to Sutton. Suppose you have to say, Trevor, that the sooner the better, but it's easy for a commentator to say. But if he leaves it too late, the match could be gone before he's tried something different.
Well, a second goal would make it a huge mountain to climb. But at the moment, I'm sure John Dean, like myself, is sitting here and thinking, well, I'm not sure that Norwich are going to find a way through.
Fox trying to. Fox is offside.
But they were passing to each other within 3 or 4 yards. They were so close and congested, they couldn't spread the play. And the only people they can spread it to are the fullbacks, who are quite often occupied by Giggs and Kanchelskis. And he's looking pretty passive, but I'm sure he'll be itching to get out there.
Effen Kuku surely has a role to play. But he'd like to get on the stage before the curtain comes down. We've had a third of the match. Bruce. Dennis Irwin. Giggs. Good ball from Dennis Irwin. Keane. He looks very pensive, John Dean, John Faulkner in conversation. Not a flicker for Alec Ferguson, who says that his side should treat these cup games not quite as a day off, but the main priority is to retain the championship. And if the cup runs come, so much the better. And at the moment, they're too good for everyone. 28 matches since they lost at Stoke in the early stages of the League Cup competition. Well, they lost in Europe, they weren't actually beaten. Fox.
Well, the crowd getting frustrated because, well, that 4 or 5 times Raw Fox has got called offside, but You know, if they hold the 18-yard box and they've got no width, all they can do is play down the middle area and just run into that United offside. And at the moment, most of their play being totally frustrated in that final attacking third.
If you're just wondering, from my previous statement, how you can lose without getting beaten, I should tell you that Galatasaray was 3-3 and 0-0. The goals away from home that counted. Oh! Bruce's determined challenge. Certainly the best central defender around yet to be capped. Play on, says the referee. Gary Megson at that stage was trying to dig a hole for himself. There was nowhere to go. Sutton trying to turn on it. Megson. A lot of the opportunities on the edge of the box are coming to Gary Megson. Bruce. Perhaps he thought Peter Schmeichel felt a bit cold. Newman. Culverhouse. Bowen. Typical one-touch Norwich City, but the touches at the other end are proving elusive to find. Chris Sutton is involved in a real physical battle with Gary Pallister. He hasn't been able to contribute too much as yet. Just a touch short, and Giggs dispossesses but can't find Mark Hughes, but he was close to doing so.
I'd like to see him chance his arm with his right foot in those situations sometime.
Yes.
I mean, he's got great balance, you know, can go in and out with his left, but, you know, he had a yard or two coming in on his right, and that wasn't a situation to pass it, it was to have a go.
Comparison is always hard for Ryan Giggs, but can't help feeling that Best he would have. But then, in fairness, Best was more naturally right-footed, but he did force himself, work hard on it to use his left foot. Another rugby tackle by John Polston. There was a little French flick after it. Hughes, Owens made the good forward run. Giggs. Goal kick. Well, most of the noise is coming from the visiting supporters. A few Norwich supporters joining in the competition. Minutes away from half-time. The side who've struggled to find their home at form, continuing to do so. It's quite extraordinary. One win in 9 attempts over the last 3 months. And only 15 of 53 goals have been scored at Carrow Road by Norwich City this season. Offside flag.
I think just 8 league goals in 11 league games is probably the most telling statistic, and you know, and you can see in a game like this, and certainly that opening weekend when they lost at home here to Manchester United, how they are struggling to get the numbers forward that they do away from home, where they counter-attack so well.
box. Crook. Good cover again by Parker. Kanchelskis is forward, Keane is forward. Newman. When he was number 2 to Mike Walker, John Dean was rather more vociferous, and is showing himself now in the managerial role. There's a fair bit of scramble going on in his head, I would think. Free kick is Norwich City's way. Sutton down on the deck, looks at Mr. Durkin. Crook. Giggs now in the role of marking bird. Didn't play a good pass. Cross, oh dear, oh dear. Eric Cantona will be booked for that. That was a bad challenge by the Frenchman and quite unnecessary. No point in interceding. The referee saw it and has to book him.
Well, I can see him shaking his head, but there, you cannot defend this tackle. And look, Jeremy Goss is going nowhere. There's no need to do that. I mean, I think he's very lucky not to get a red card for that.
Yes, I agree. Goal kick. The man who's been out with a problem to his right calf. Apparently none the worse for wear. But it was high, it was two-footed, and the ball had very little to do with it.
Well, Cantona is probably frustrated because he hasn't been able to get into the game because of the way Norwich have played, and Polston's doing a good marking job. But I mean, the rest of the team are getting a bit of the space and the benefit from his reputation, and some games he's going to have to accept that, but not get involved in tackles like that.
Hughes, picked up by Ince, good pace, taken out of the way by Rob Newman. Five minutes of the first half remaining. Not as yet the classic that the neutrals would have hoped for. Up his gun. Not the classic because Norwich City are stopping quite a lot of what Manchester United can do, but they're not, because of that, causing United any concern at the other end of the pitch. Parker, Keane. Up early was Bowen, and very effectively. Mexon getting through a lot of industry.
I mean, Manchester United be quite content just to knock it around at the back. At some stage, Norwich have to be a little bit more positive and push up in numbers and pressurise United. At the moment, they're having quite a gentle afternoon stroll.
Kanchelskis. Bruce. Keane. Asked a bit too much of Parker, who sits it out on the board.
But they're using Parker and Owen just to keep possession, because on each occasion the three central midfielders, Jeremy Goss in particular, is having to work from one side of the pitch to the other.
He's really got forward as he is now. Offside against Goss. Really the only threat to Peter Schmeichel's goal was as a result of an untypical piece of goalkeeping when he didn't come in a positive manner to claim the ball.
Other than that, you know, it never looked under pressure. And I think sometimes it's a brave decision to say, well, the system I've started with isn't working, but I think it's not. So I think Okuku should come on at half-time and take a chance, abandon the five at the back, and almost play with a flat back four and put Fox out wide and really have a go at United, because at the moment you can't see the pattern of the game changing unless they do something.
Offside flag is up, and I should tell you that Trevor Brooking is not being wise after the event, because had he been the coach and manager of Norwich City, that's how he would have started the match, because he was telling me before the game. John Dean in charge for only the fourth time. Caretaker at Wickham. 2 league games since have produced 2 draws against Chelsea here and against West Ham at Upton Park on Monday. Bruce watched it with care. Crook. Mistake by him, this could be trouble. Too much running for Kanchelskis, and United actually didn't play that too well. Given a second chance to do so, but not a third. Parker. Cantona. And still Cantona. Dispossessed by Bowen.
Great recovery, tackle that from Bowen, because Cantona would have been clear.
Keane. Good block tackle by Polston. Sudden Manchester United pressure again. There's an extra gear there which they've changed up to once, and they're doing so for the second time. Everybody other than Schmeichel in the Norwich half. Great ball to Owen. Newman who cleared. Norwich passed their way out of trouble. But they, as yet, cannot pass their way to parity. Joined us late, Manchester United leading by Roy Keane's goal.
I think United will be delighted at their lead, and for me, I think it's fortunate that perhaps they're not more than the 1 goal up, and so perhaps John Dean has got time now to reorganise things and perhaps get back into this game.
Peter Schmeichel has had 16 clean sheets this season, including the last 3 games, all of them won by 1 goal to nil. Which is where we stand, as the referee is not quite poised yet to blow the half-time whistle, but the kettle's certainly on. Parker, Cantona, getting a few boos for the challenge on Goss, but we've seen a couple of moments of the other side of his nature since then.
But again, Irwin and Parker have had so much space and possession, and Dennis Irwin nearly created the second goal, and he could do this all afternoon.
Bannister. Ince. Keane. Parker. We allow just over 2 minutes. And Manchester United go off at the end of a half, which was very comfortable for them. 1-0 the lead, the goal by Keane after 19 minutes.
Thanks, Barry. Yes, United in total control at the moment, and you can see why Norwich don't get goals at home, Alan.
Yeah, the system's perfect away from home, but at home it's no use at all. Norwich are playing nice, concise, precise football. It's lovely to watch, but it's absolutely powder puff. They've got Sutton and Fox up front, they've got no support. You've got Pallister and Bruce back there, they've got the cigars out. They're sitting back in the 18-yard line, and they've got Keane and Ince playing just in front of them. You know, they're letting Norwich play all day, just play it back, and then when United get it, it's break, and that's what they've done. And United tactics are perfect, but Norwich have got to dispense with the sweeper system, go back to a flat back four, and have a go.
And spread it at the front a bit.
Yeah, play Fox on the right, get a bit of width.
Yeah. Now, Ryan Giggs, he gets the headlines, but you can see why, can't you? I mean, that run which led to the goal, Jimmy,
fantastic.
was just...
We saw it. We're in the corner of the field, as you can see there, and we saw it from behind. I don't know whether it's quite this picture, but it was it was a magnificent run once. Oh, it is exactly the angle that we get. Now, there's a moment here when he gets possession of the ball, where he does a feint. That one, where he just finds where the space is, perfect balance, but then his awareness to hit the opposite of Norwich, a long cross-field ball, looking for the space, and look at the space that's there. Kanchelskis gets it, neat little touch back, and Keane, who's had a superb first half, on the end of it, full of energy, and says thank you very much.
Of all the players, Alan, that you pay to come in and see, this is the boy.
This is the man. I think they shouldn't back off here, to be fair. He does remarkably well. It's a great cross-field pass, not a great first touch from Kanchelskis, good touch inside. Keane comes in, Brian Gunn maybe should have got a hand to it, but a fabulous goal to watch.
Keane's had a very good half,
yeah,
hasn't he?
He's defended well, he's attacked well, and he scored a great goal.
You see Norwich coming back in this one, Jim?
Well, the phrase that was in my mind was tiptoeing through the tulips, and when you've got tulips like Bruce and Pallister, it doesn't work.
Big tulips,
as
tough
Alan
tulips.
says. I mean, it's easy enough to see it, and sometimes you do get carried away with it because it's so neat and precise, and we say, isn't that lovely, that
Nice
touch?
to watch, then all
But
breaks
as
down.
Trevor pointed out, there are 4 of them at times within about 10 yards of each other, and that doesn't give you the space to open
The
up.
problem is now that if they come out and have a real go, United will just sit back and hit them in the break, and they might murder them.
Thanks for the moment. We'll have more about this in a moment or two. And, of course, we've got the draw live for the 5th round to come after this match. But now let's enjoy some of the highlights of yesterday's FA Cup ties.
Cardiff City fans with quite short memories can recall FA Cup exits against Weymouth, Hayes, Bath City. So celebration in South Wales was long and loud when Nathan Blake put them ahead against Manchester City. When a goalkeeper of Tony Coton's class can't get a significant touch, the scorer is entitled to be proud. However, Manchester City seemed likely to hang on for their new chairman's return from holiday when David Rocastle went down under Damon Searle's challenge. Keith Curle, who had a goal very narrowly disallowed for offside, took the penalty. But Cardiff City's goalkeeper Mark Grew took the honours. Francis Lee may find getting a Caribbean tan easier than putting a gloss on Manchester City, but Cardiff could see the sunny side.
We played some great football, and second half, as I say, I felt up until the goal, I thought we was much the better side. I mean, we deserved the win.
Oxford United had failed to reach the 5th round for the last 9 seasons, but 36 minutes in, they were 2 goals to the good against the 3rd favourites. Jim Magilton picked out Alex Dyer for the first after quarter of an hour. Manager Dennis Smith had been close to dropping Dyer before the match. Smith had plotted Arsenal's shock exit at York in 1985. His assistant Malcolm Crosby led Sunderland to Wembley 2 seasons ago. When Matt Elliott, a lifelong Leeds supporter, fired home Oxford second, another chapter of cup success beckoned. But they were kidding themselves if they thought they'd done enough, because in their previous 4 league and cup encounters at the Manor, these sides had shared 23 goals. So Gary Speed's strike for Leeds just before half-time wasn't the greatest of surprises, nor indeed was the goal that made the comeback complete. Substitute David Weatherall heading the equaliser just 4 minutes after coming on. His first goal of the season, leading the Oxford manager to ponder what might have been.
Fair play to Leeds, they showed great character, came back, gave us a lot of problems in the second half, and the keepers had to work extremely hard. We've not worked hard enough to close the crosses throughout the game, and we've paid for it in the end.
With a Sherlock on one side and a Holmes on the other, you could have expected this tie to throw up a mystery. Was the case of the missing goalkeeper an elementary error or mere misfortune? Undoubtedly, it was Gary Lund who stole the goal. West Ham equalised through Steve Jones, supposedly brought in for the pace, which was a factor when he'd scored against Norwich in midweek. The decisiveness of his finish here suggests that for all the raw edges, there's more to his game than running fast.
Newcastle's lofty Premiership position, the result of imaginative and free-flowing football, has made them second favourites for the Cup. But manager Kevin Keegan's concerned about the temporary blockage to his side's fluid system, namely the St James's Park pitch. Not that Luton's Tony Thorpe found it much of a problem. A superb debut goal for the teenager, who was released by Leicester and given his chance by David Pleat. Newcastle spurned chances to equalise and was stumbling to a shock defeat on the bumpy surface. That was until Peter Beardsley stumbled over John Dreher's leg to earn them a 65th minute penalty. A controversial decision, but on closer inspection, not necessarily a harsh one. Beardsley took the penalty himself, his 16th goal of the season securing the replay, an old head putting only a mild dampener on a memorable day for Luton's young scorer.
I didn't really expect to play. I had a funny feeling that I was involved, and funny enough I got my chance and put it away. Well, I did. Really, I thought I could have done a little bit better. I don't expect to play next week against Oxford, but I enjoyed it. It was good.
Before this season, only 4 non-league sides had reached the 5th round of the FA Cup, so what odds against Kidderminster joining the select band? Supporters of the Vauxhall Conference leaders steamed into Kidderminster, hoping to see Preston steamrollered. And they were not disappointed. The Harriers' John Purdy was the most gifted player on view, and it was his teasing run that set up the game's only goal. Scorer Delwyn Humphreys, who then produced a victory roll celebration, school of Peter Beagrie. Kidderminster's manager Graham Allner says he assumes his team won't win the cup, but right now they're certainly enjoying it a whole lot more than Preston.
You have your dreams, before the beginning of the season, but you don't think they're going to come true. And on a day like this, I mean, it was a very hard. We knew what they were going to play like, and we always knew we got to defend well, which the lads they were brilliant at the back. But we always knew if we got one or two chances, we'd put them away. And luckily enough, I was the one who got the chance and put it away.
Tottenham's season effectively came to an abrupt halt at Portman Road. It remains to be seen how much manager Ozzy Ardiles can hide behind the mask of injuries and ill fortune. Striker Ian Marshall cracked home Ipswich's first from John Walk's header after 53 minutes, his 12th of an extremely effective season. Tottenham simply couldn't contain Ipswich at set pieces. Walk was allowed the freedom to make a constant menace of himself in the box. Another of his headers hit Gavin Johnson on its rather indirect route to the net. Spurs as good as out, but 5 minutes from the end, Ipswich scored a third, just to make sure. It was the best of the 3, Neil Thompson's first of the season. And it sealed their 5th round place for the first time in 4 seasons. But what repercussions now for Ardiles and company?
Chelsea, the innovators, came up with a novelty against Sheffield Wednesday. We've all seen goalkeepers heading outside the penalty area. Here was Dimitri Karim heading off the goal line. Andy Meyer's back pass had left him no option. Steve Clark was then allowed to turn defence into devastating attack with an unchallenged 50-yard run, followed by a perfect pass for Gavin Peacock. But since their 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge in August, Sheffield Wednesday have lost only 3 of 15 away games. Their equaliser here came from Roland Nilsson's cross, helped on to Graham Hyde, who doubled his total for the season.
One of the best goals of this or any other cup round came at Home Park, where Peter Shilton's second division side are looking good for promotion. It's little wonder if this is the kind of play they've been producing. Dwight Marshall going solo, the end justifying his single-minded intentions. But this one finished as one of 7 draws yesterday.
And the draw for round 5, remember, coming up live after the second half here, where United leading Norwich by that goal-0. Now, the former Norwich manager's here, back home, to have a look at his old side today, Mike Walker, and he's with Ray Stubbs.
Mike, your assessment of that first half?
Well, it's been a bit, they cancelled each other out, really, to a certain degree. Thought Norwich played some good stuff, but really haven't threatened them that much, although they've got into their half. But it's typical Manchester United, they've sort of contained them and then broken away and scored, you know, and then could have got another one just before half-time.
Let's just imagine for a moment, by some remote possibility, you're the manager of Norwich City. What would you be saying for them to go and do in the second half?
Well, I think they've got to keep playing, you know, keep being confident to play. But I mean, they obviously need to get forward more and get some shots at goal and get some finishes on. They look quite assured, Manchester. You know, obviously they're doing well and they look quite comfortable. The danger with them, if you push on too much, of course, they can hit you on the break. And I think that's probably why the Norwich lads are a little bit wary of.
Is it time to put Efan Akuku on and try and get the ball forward more and get another player forward?
Well, maybe not at the moment. I mean, but I'm sure John will be thinking about that not too far, and if the goals don't change.
Mike, thanks very much. A haircut from Liverpool, I see.
Yeah, scalp me. God, dear.
It's very nice, Mike, and the right colour too, as far as I'm concerned. Now, Jimmy, United might have killed the game, mightn't they, in that first half?
Yes, they
had
might
a couple
indeed.
of other chances.
We're grateful to them for not doing that, because we want a bit of excitement in the second half.
Quite right.
But Andrei Kanchelskis is a very, very strong player. And this, when he gets into the through position, full of strength there. They can't push him off the ball. And a really fierce left-footed shot. I don't think Gunn got a touch to it. He got his hand up there, but I don't think he touched it. And then, of course, Dennis Irwin, much underrated player in the United side, suddenly pops up on the end of that beautiful through ball from Ince. And give Gunn credit here. See how quickly he appears. Look, from nowhere, he's out there to block, panics him, and he makes a pass to no one.
Yes. We're admirers of Cantona, aren't we? But sometimes we're not, are we?
No, he's got to control that side of the game. I said to you after 20 minutes, I thought he really hadn't had a touch yet. And Goss had caught him just before, but this really is an atrocious tackle. It's 2 feet, it's high, it's late, and I think he's very, very lucky to stay in the park there. I really do.
You would have thought sending off in that.
I thought it was a red card defence.
Right, thank you. United lead by that goal-0, scored by Roy Keane. Here come the players, as you see. So let's rejoin Trevor and Barry.
She's well wrapped up, and I imagine that most Norwich City supporters will be looking to see if Efan Akuku is out there, and the answer for the moment is in the negative. No changes, but as yet no tears to affect the paint on the face. I don't think Chris Sutton in the first half had a shot on goal. In fact, the only shots that I can remember all came from Gary Megson, and none actually forced employment from Peter Schmeichel. Earlier for Kanchelskis. Yes, he has got it. Bannister and Fox, that's an unequal contest in the air. Alec Ferguson now down on the bench. And still the pensive look on the face of John Dean. Here's Kanchelskis. Ince. No.
no tactical changes from Norwich, same system at the moment, and United immediately take the early initiative. Roy Keane involved 2 or 3 occasions. Probably over the last couple of weeks, thought he played very well down at Portsmouth when they won, and he seemed to have been enjoying probably his most impressive spell since joining them from Nottingham Forest. It takes time in a star-studded side like this, but today I think he and Kanchelskis have been the two to catch my eye in particular.
Sutton trying to turn, found he had an extra man to take on in Paul Ince. Bone. Ince. Hughes stepped on it. Fox. Thorpe. By Bannister. Crook. Trying to get it over Giggs, who covered in very well. Keane, a lot of space to move into. Front player's disappointed it wasn't played earlier. Played now for Cantona. Paulson the player with him. Giggs and Hughes in the area still. Arms behind his back, unmoved. Ince and Crook. On the space. Kanchelskis. Covered by Mark Bowen. Having a good game, the Welshman, and needing to. Up comes Bannister, number 6. Following in his footsteps, slightly further across, Hughes further across still. All academic, because it was so easy for Gunn, not a well-delivered corner. Sutton. Norwich City and Oldham Athletic, the only 2 sides from the Premiership still without their name on the cup, still left in the competition. Also applies to Swindon and QPR, but they're out. Here's Fox. Offside.
Been called out a few times, hasn't he, Will Fox? And not easy sometimes when you're used to playing out wide for most of the season, suddenly to switch down the middle and against such a well-organised back four, to time your runs and not get called offside, he's finding it very difficult.
Manchester United chorus singing the Cantona carol. Whether it counts with the old thought that carols out of season, trouble without reason. But here's Keane once again for Manchester United. Kanchelskis held up a bit in the wind. Keane. There's no relief valve for Norwich City. They're all pulled back except Sutton, who had 3 players around him. Parker. Offside against Parker. Yes, I don't think the lyrics of that song are ever going to win any award. It's looking at the River End stand, which is packed like the rest of the ground, the crowd of 21,060, which is the biggest of the season. Kanchelskis. Still Manchester United, a notch up. Oh, and there might well have been 2 goals up. Giggs on the end of the cross.
Well, he's scintillating today, isn't he? His pace, his acceleration, he's whipping in some excellent crosses. That was a perfect one. Ryan Giggs just perhaps getting beyond the near post and couldn't quite get it on target, but I mean, he's just using his acceleration to get away from Colin Woodthorpe, and Ryan Giggs just couldn't quite divert it on target. But at the moment, I mean, it's almost an action replay of the first half, and you feel a second goal is inevitable unless Norwich in some way do change it. And Cuckoo and his exercise and his legs in the far corner, the top end of the pitch, and probably just waiting for a signal, but I would have thought sooner rather than later.
That was an observation made during the course of the first half. Bannister's header. Krookenins. Still in. Newman. Bit of time for John Polston. Had no change at all, Chris Sutton. Owen. Free kick is given. Crook helps Ince to his feet. Smooth as silk. Corner.
I've got a feeling we might see an action replay of that one. That was him at his very best, wasn't it? His balance, twisting and turning, running at a defender, which I'm sure is any defender's nightmare.
And that young man was off his seat watching. That's what's so good about it. Bruce trying to get there. Difficult for Maxim, but he gets the clearance in. Kanchelskis. Cantona wants it in the middle. Bruce. Cantona. Ince disappointed to hear the whistle. Well, this was the piece of shimmering. Back to Fox, who doesn't find Goss. And for the first time, Schmeichel with a few words to say. He was on the receiving end from his defence once in the first half. Got his own back there.
It's almost the first time. I think Schmeichel's touched the ball in this half. I can't remember, Norwich, mounting an attack, and as I say, at the moment, it's still difficult to find them conjuring up a goal with so little support for Sutton and Fox.
We've had 10 minutes of the second half. Here's Megson. Sutton! Good cover by Steve Bruce. That is the first time, I think, in the match that Manchester United were under pressure. And their captain rose to the occasion to get there ahead of Chris Sutton.
It was good defending. Excellent cross by Gary Megson.
Lifted the crowd a bit. Out by Keane. Well claimed. What about that for a clearance? You're quite good at bowls. Linesman's flag was up. But for all that sniff at the goal by Chris Sutton, I don't understand why John Dean is waiting. They've got a man over this side, wasn't seen, Mark Bowen. Interesting that Bowen has now pushed forward on the left side. Here he is again. Referee's given the free kick.
Yeah, it's Gareth Mexon and Paul Ince. Paul Ince not one to hold back on comments and his antics, and there was a spell, I must say, you can see he's only shadowing Mexon here, and there's no need really for him to react like that. He's risking a booking.
Crook. Mark Bowen still pushed forward on his left side position. Well played, Steve Bruce again.
Home crowd lifted for the first time, I think.
Sutton on the near edge, met by Pallister, and a bit of pushing going on. Free kick is to Manchester United.
The Cuckoo still warming up. One little tactical switch with Mark Bowen coming over to the left-hand side, so they're almost playing now a flat back four. Mark Bowen's come onto the left of midfield to join the other midfield three, and I think also that's to help out poor Colin Woodthorpe, who had Parker and Kanchelskis running in ragged down this flank. But again, the switching tactics is more a sort of damage limitation exercise rather than actually having a go at United defensively.
Faces of apparent resignation there. Victor now to take the free kick. Keane far side, then Hughes, then Giggs. Bruce has now joined those three. Ince is poised as well. It's Bruce at the back. Newman there first. Pallister got his head to it. Fox took it down beautifully and played it early. Over this side is Mark Bowen. Everything now to his right. Woodthorpe supporting now to his left. And here's Goss! It was deflected, even though it was not a memorable shot.
And also Mark Bowen gave them the actual width there, and so they're able to build up their play much better.
Won by Keane. Crook again. Bowen. All back by Kanchelskis. Bowen. Megson. Bowen. Keane not taking any chances, and Schmeichel is furious about that. One or two encouraging signs for Norwich City. Megson. Parker. We've had 2/3 of the match, and for the first time Norwich City are asking just a few questions. Goss. Better strike. Great stop, and wide. The second two from Polston. It's still in play. They're queuing up, and Parker does well. I don't want to labour the point, but if you added a Cocu to all this, might it not make that bit of difference? Bowen. Tremendous couple of blocks by Peter Schmeichel. He was really lifted by the annoyance of Keane taking the ball away. There was the first save, which knocked it out to Polston coming in. Look how he's poised. Blocks it as it's aimed straight for his nose. And the follow-up, Polston comes off the side of the boot and wide.
I mean, Goss hit the first shot, but I would say he made a little bit of a meal of the first one and knocked it out invitingly for Polston. Did superbly then to retrieve it on the second one, and then, of course, John Polston should have knocked in the rebound, but then he is a defender rather than a forward.
Best chance of the match for Norwich. Fell to their skipper. Fox to the left. Bowen who's making the difference here. Good strike! We were talking at the beginning of the match, Trevor, how they would miss Bowen on the left side. Since he's gone into that position, it's made an enormous change.
Suddenly they've got extra numbers forward, and of course Manchester United, he was unlucky there. It's only just curled away from the far post, Bowen, but not only is he giving them balance on the left-hand side, but he's getting forward, supporting Sutton and Fox, and suddenly the defenders marking them are not sure whether to go with the runner, going beyond them, whereas before they just knew nobody was going behind them, and they just had two strikers against four defenders.
It's a different match now, all right. Parker, Pallister. Cantona. Giggs. It's just a bit tight from Parker, but Bowen is much more concerned to move up into an attacking position, and Kanchelskis lucky to get away with standing on the ball.
Perhaps he said, I don't understand English, right?
Ball by Ince. Shout in unison from the River End stand. Makes some thought about it. Anticipation now on the faces of home supporters. Two Norwich players out to the right. Fox now sort of on the edge of the wall. Switch the other way. Bowen. Goal kick.
It was a well-worked free kick. Everything went according to plan except the final shot, because he definitely created the opening. Plenty of space to run onto. You can see, moved it to the left, thinking he's going to hit it with the left, but it comes right across. He's got a lot of space there and pulled it badly.
It's Dennis Irwin who bought it. He was the one who ran from the middle and left an enormous hole. Up by Polston. Offside. Well, credit John Dean for the tactical change, which has certainly made a difference. But how much of a gambler is he? Might of course be argued that such is Norwich City's away form that one goal could be enough.
I think probably the improvement has made him decide, well, let's give it 10 minutes with this system, and then if he doesn't get the goal, then he's got to at least give a Cuckoo 15-20 minutes, and I would think he'd take Gary Megson off there.
Goss won't get there. They've got to make anything of it. Crook. It's a bit strong, but Bowen plays it in early. Woodthorpe. Sutton is underneath it. Fox. Goss! Well, we're not lacking entertainment now.
That's a completely different match, isn't it? There's so many more numbers in there now. Look, Colin Wood thought had been marooned in defence all afternoon, suddenly hooked that one. It scrambles, and if you see as it comes back here, it just won't come down early enough. It sits up and Goss gets in position, but he can't get over the ball, can see the defenders coming in and hooks it over the top.
Parker. Keane. Two to his left. Still. Blocked was by Newman. And suddenly, after being penned in a bit at their end, Manchester United break out. And whenever they do it, they look capable of finding a finish. Mark Hughes just outside the 6-yard area. Cantona on the near post. Back to Kanchelskis. Giggs taking on two. Trying to spin through rather than round. Good challenge with Bowen. Oh. Challenged by Ince. Chase for Sutton and Parker. Owen in the middle. And the free kick. Use of the arm by Chris Sutton.
He wasn't going to beat Paul Parker at the pace because he's as quick as any in that back four.
Megson. Challenge late by Megson. Poor challenge on Keane. Giggs is centrally placed. Norwich move up. Up goes the linesman's flag. Ball finishes up in the net, but it doesn't matter. Best from Brian Gunn. Owen. John Polston off the stretch. Ooh, did well. Didn't know he'd won it. Fox trying to get away from Bruce. And according to the linesman, was held back a bit.
Yeah, did very well, the lines, because the referee hadn't seen it, and Will Fox definitely was pulled back by Steve Bruce, and another dangerous situation. Whether they can work another bit of space remains to be seen.
Taken quickly. Sutton can't get through it because Pallister was in the way with a good header. Culverhouse. Fox got himself in front of Bruce again, but couldn't keep it in. 20 minutes left. Still the team's divided by Roy Keane's goal, but it's a very different match now. Beautifully taken. And Kanchelskis put away by Hughes. And Woodthorpe just did enough. Giggs, Newman, Culverhouse. Fall back, Roy Keane just sitting in front of them. This was Kanchelskis' run. Woodthorpe just got the touch. But here again is Hughes, played it a bit too far and just enabled Newman to get back. Gunn was coming to dive at his feet. It was just a moment then when Mark Hughes played it that little bit extra bit forward and Newman got in.
I don't suppose you could call the Woodthorpe one a deliberate back pass, could you?
Would have been very harsh.
I don't think any defender with that call in those situations, but they've just a couple of occasions, as is bound to happen, of course, as Norwich push forward. Manchester United trying to capitalise on that pace, and they did catch Norwich twice there, but they've got to take chances now, throw those extra men forward, and I must say, as the minutes tick away, I still think of the Cuckoo sitting on the bench.
Well, somebody's got to take charge. Woodthorpe did. Awkwardly by Pallister, but it was effective enough. Newman. Nice little lay by Fox, got a good return too. But Parker will cut that off. Had a very tidy match, Paul Parker. Fox. Megson. Not the most classy of clearances by England's Gary Pallister. Cantona given the present and scores, and Rob Newman goes down in despair. He's hardly been in the match, the Frenchman, but his goal has surely won it for Manchester United. Gift did well with the nod down, and as Gunn came to meet him, he found the hole.
Well, he's a crestfallen defender, isn't he? Because trying to knock it to Culverhouse at the right back, and I thought he just knocked it too far. Cantona kept his head and his touch superbly, didn't he, to finish off. Probably the last person you wanted to give the ball to in those situations. They got away with a couple, didn't they? Kanchelskis and Hughes just before that, but it was third time lucky for United.
And as you saw, the change will now be made, but the top scorer for Manchester United, his 16th goal of the season, surely has put it beyond Norwich City's reach. Poor Rob Newman. Sutton. Still Sutton, this is the best run he's had. And still, Goss is calling for it. It's slightly behind him. In fact, it's too far behind him. Kanchelskis. Giggs let it run, but not to his advantage. Cantona. Giggs is offside. And we're into the last quarter of an hour, and Efenakoku is invited into the action, but to try to save a lost cause. Cook is the man who goes off.
Well, it had to be one of the central midfielders, because Will Fox to go out wide on the right. I thought it might be Gary Megson, one of the older members, but probably assistant manager now. You can take that authority to stay on the pitch, can't he? And Ian Crook is the one who's taken off, but Will Fox, as expected, goes wide on the right. But at one goal, you think perhaps they might have got back into it now, but a Cuckoo going to find it very difficult to get 2 goals, I would have thought.
Well, the Manchester United supporters think they're going back to Wembley. 9-1 for the treble, which has never been done. on, but claimed. Does distribute so well. Cantona. And Brian Gunn very unhappy with Cantona. I don't think the Scotsman and the Frenchman are quite on the same wavelength here.
Well, it was totally unnecessary. I could understand the frustration of Gunn because John Polston went down. As you can see, he's going to fall across him. Cantona's not too happy, and as they go down and he walks across, he just has another one of those little backflips, which all the crowd would have seen. It's unnecessary. He's sized 2-0 up. Why he has to do that, I just do not know.
Yes, it's adding insult to injury, because there was that terrible tackle in the first half, and then he goes to score the goal, which makes it 2-0. Check on John Polston's shoulder.
I think the shock of that big backflip did that to his hair, I think.
Goss. Koku wants a touch of the ball. Makes them forward. Bruce denying it, Koku. Free kick against Kanchelskis. He kicked the ball away. Yellow card. Don't need to understand the language. Thinking that Eric Cantona, probably along with Peter Beardsley, competing for Footballer of the Year, he won't have done himself too many favours today, are people watching this? Goss. Polston. Goss did better than he had any right to do. Oh, good play. He's got class as Culverhouse. That's nice. No foul, according to Mr. Durkin. Offside against Cantona. And there's to be a substitution too now for Manchester United. And Hughes, the man, to come off to be replaced by Brian McClair.
Because he scored the goal against Portsmouth in the week and has done very well in recent games, coming on as sub and starting a game, so some might feel he was a bit unlucky to have missed out on the starting lineup, but they've got such a wealth of talent that probably Alex Ferguson felt, well, you deserve a few minutes at the end of this game, which they look as if they're cruising to now.
Goss. Fox. For waiting. And continues to do so. Koku. Delivered cross, but low and put away by Bruce. Goss. Bowen. Still Bowen. Interception by Parker from a prone position. Cantona. Danger here for Norwich. Kanchelskis in possession. McClair outside. Poor delivery in by the Ukrainian. Goss. Norwich, to their credit, have not let the heads fall at all. The goal given away was a real hammer blow, and things seem to be on the up and up for them. Sutton. Fox. Pallister's header.
He's had an excellent game, Gary Pallister at the back. And as he kept Chris Sutton fairly quiet, but looked very composed when in possession.
Kanchelskis once more, seen a lot of the ball. Flag is up. Mr. Durkin gives the free kick to Manchester United.
Taking his chance well, Kanchelskis, hasn't he, since Lee Sharp got his injury, and Giggs has gone back to the left-hand side, and Kanchelskis has had a run in the team.
Well, he's just got 3. Giggs just drops it in. And Roy Keane was not too far away. Manchester United supporters are not exactly doing their team the sort of honour that they in the game deserve. Polston. Koku. Fox. This time he doesn't deliver from the wide position. Tackled by Newman.
Kuku looks as if he's going to be released, doesn't he, for the African Cup. Could be playing for Nigeria in the World Cup in the summer.
Here's Keane. Kanchelskis on the right-hand side. Just small touch was enough. Goss. Newman. Byrne. Koku makes the diagonal run. They're all waiting. Fox stayed back and gets the chance because of that. Lifted to a Koku, good clearance. Giggs. The momentum really isn't there anymore. Well challenged by Newman. Referee had a quick word. Frenchman to Ukrainian. Frenchman moving for the return. Leclerc is up as well. Now Byrne. Koku. Sutton can't get a touch to Fox, who was waiting. Kanchelskis a little languid in his return. He's caught offside. Koku, good nod down. Byrne. Koku being held up well. Goss tries to curl. Good stop.
He's got a few goals this season, Jeremy Goss, only just coming back. Of course, the fitness played at my old club West Ham on Monday, and there always going to be Schmeichel's ball. Didn't quite have the power to beat him.
Plenty of runners forward. Sutton. Into the last 5 minutes. Cantona offside against Roy Keane. And the players and supporters of Kidderminster will know that their hopes of joining Manchester United in the next round are still alive. Kanchelskis covering. Woodthorpe. bit of a blind, I would thought. The Norwich City supporters have to believe that their team can move up in the Championship to still keep alive hopes of going back into Europe via that route, but it's going to be very hard for them. And they did so well in their first journey to the continent. With Thorpe, Leclerc, Kanchelskis. Bowen, I think for me, has been the pick of the Norwich City side.
Yeah, he helped make the difference, definitely, when they moved him into midfield, when they had that very good spell, when it was still 1-0, and you thought they could get back into it. But that second disastrous goal locked it up as far as United were concerned.
Max. Koku. Still a Koku. It's gone across too many legs. It's a problem for everyone who faces Manchester United. How do you play them? If you give them the respect and look at their strengths and try to counter those at a cost to your own strengths, what in the end do you achieve? I think it might be said, Trevor, I don't want to put you in a difficult position, but we've now seen Manchester United play in 2 FA Cup ties where that policy has been tried and failed.
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, people will say, well, if you have a go at them, you're so prone to the counter-attack and their pace that you know, they'll expose those gaps and win anyway. But today, particularly in that first half, you never felt Norwich were threatening them from an attacking point of view, and the goal that came was almost inevitable, almost in the second half, until they moved Bowen into midfield. So at the end of it, there's frustration from the players' point of view, I would have thought, John Deere, because they'd never really tested United as probably they felt they were capable of.
Sutton, Koku, good challenge by Pallister. Leclerc. Giggs. Norwich have condensed the space, pushing up. Giggs. Inside is Leclerc. Wide is Cantona. Inside him is Kanchelskis. Parker formed the extra man. Here's Keane. Not a strike to match his early one. Scored the first goal in the 19th minute. Durkin has one look at the watch on his wrist, and one look is sufficient. Eric Cantona with the killer goal, although some would argue that he should have long since left the pitch after Roy Keane had given Manchester United a 19th minute lead. But in the second half, with a tactical change, Norwich City did very, very much better and was certainly threatening when Rob Newman's error enabled Cantona to put the game beyond the home side's reach. Kanchelskis saw a lot of the ball set up Keane for the first goal after being beautifully found by Ryan Giggs. And who awaits next in the draw for Manchester United? 9-1, Trevor, for the treble. It's not generous odds.
Well, Alex Ferguson dismisses it as something that's impossible for a side to achieve, but at the moment they're not sort of wilting at all.
Well, the scorer of the first goal, Roy Keane, is now down in the tunnel, waiting to answer the questions posed by Ray Stubbs.
Roy, second half a little bit tougher than the first half.
Yeah, well, we knew that. We knew Norwich would come back strong in the second half. But I always thought we'd get another one on the break, and luckily enough we did.
Pretty comfortable in all, you march on.
Yeah, well, you know, we're doing really well lately. We had a bad spell there a couple of weeks ago, but we had about 3 or 4 good wins on the trot, so, you know, we're quite happy the way things are going.
Norwich came at you in the second half a little bit more. There was one chance that really turned the game, Peter Schmeichel saved, but then unfortunate that Eric Cantona was able to pop in.
Yeah, I'd say a couple times, you know, Norwich didn't take that chance, and, you know, Eric did. But that's what it's all about.
You march on, congratulations.
Thank you.
United in for everything still, but who are they going to draw? Who's going to draw them, rather, in the next round? We'll have more comments about the game in a moment, but we're going direct to London now for that 5th round draw live. Let's join David Davis.
Desmond, I was at Kidderminster yesterday to see the Harriers become the first non-league side to reach this 5th round draw in 9 years. I know many of the players will be watching this draw at the Agborough Stadium in Kidderminster. They'd fancy a West Midlands derby against the likes of Aston Villa or Wolves, or even a trip to Old Trafford. Plenty of either-ors in the draw, only 7 teams definitely through. Kidderminster are number 11, Manchester United number 6, Cardiff City are number 13. They beat Manchester City, of course, yesterday. Time to go for that draw and join the Chief Executive of the Football Association, Graham Kelly. Graham.
Thank you very much. Well, the home teams will be drawn by Mr Gordon McKeague, the Chairman of the Challenge Cup Committee, and the away teams by Sir Bert Miller, the Chairman of the Football Association.
Number 13.
Cardiff City.
Number 3.
We'll play Newcastle United or Luton Town.
Number 9.
Oldham Athletic or Stoke City.
Number 7.
We'll play Plymouth Argyle or Barnsley.
Number 11.
That's Kidderminster Harriers.
Number 12.
Play Notts County or West Ham United.
Number 1.
Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Number 8.
Play Ipswich Town.
Number 16.
Bolton Wanderers or Arsenal.
Number 2.
We'll play Aston Villa.
Number 15.
Oxford United or Leeds United.
Number 10.
Play Chelsea or Sheffield Wednesday.
Number 4.
Wimbledon.
Number 6.
We'll play Manchester United.
And number 5.
Stockport County or Bristol City.
Number 14.
We'll play Charlton Athletic or Blackburn Rovers. That concludes the draw. The ties will be played on the 19th, 20th and 21st of February.
Well, not many smiles there at Carrow Road from the Manchester United players. I don't think they'll be too pleased with that draw at Wimbledon, or at least Wimbledon are always the team that most people, I think, prefer to avoid. Kidderminster Harriers against Notts County or West Ham, will they play that at the Agborough Stadium? That's the thing that immediately strikes you. And then Bolton Wanderers or Arsenal must settle their differences tomorrow. And of course then Aston Villa face the third away game of this FA Cup so far. That's the scene here at
Whiting their fans, to say the least. Liverpool were looking for a good start for their new manager. The commentary comes from Barry Davis.
A bright, crisp afternoon at Carrow Road offers a tale of new beginnings. For John Dean, that means putting behind Sunday's disappointment and the sale of Rural Fox, and in an ideal world produce a team whose results will make the big names want to stay. For Roy Evans, it's the start of a new career. He's done everything else at Anfield from player onwards for the past 30 years, so he should be well prepared for the title boss. The main task to get everyone pulling in the same direction. And in his first team, he finds a place for a man whose career seemed to have come to an end under Graham Souness. Ronnie Whelan, back after injury, playing his first game since September. John Dean's team shows just one change from Sunday. Efan Okoku is in the starting lineup. And among the substitutes is 18-year-old Darren Eadie, whose opportunities have increased by the departure of Fox. Evans welcomes back Wright and Dix, as well as Whelan, and finds a place for the 19-year-old from Dumfries, Dominic Matteo. Ruddock and Harkness are suspended, and Redknapp has joined the injured list. The referee is Mr. Gallagher from Banbury. Both teams in need of the victory. There's McManaman, first touch for Clough. And Rob Jones is given the room to clear. John Barnes. Woodthorpe. Mark Wright has missed the last 4 games. Goss, good shot, and very, very confidently left by Bruce Grobbelaar. Goodness me, that was judgment in the extreme. Went to take off, looked up and saw it go over. McManaman in space. Rush far post. Near post, nobody coming on far, but with the run, McManaman goes for the shot and misses the far post. And a lot of room down this side. Watch the run for Rush, suddenly will appear there. There's nobody coming in on the far post. Walters arrived a bit late. He would need to have been on the express to get anywhere near to getting a touch from what was clearly a shot. He's caught. Unlucky Chris Sutton. Mark Wright hugely relieved. Turned towards his own goalkeeper, seemingly unaware of the presence of Sutton. Used his physique well and his technique almost as well. And I think Norwich supporters might say to John Dean, we're attacking the opposition this time, we're not worrying about them. Rob Jones, McManaman is on the touchline. Asks for it to feet, gets it. Jones. McManaman demanding again. Clough, only ball on for him. Every Norwich player behind the ball. And Barnes, Culverhouse, great tackle. And Woodford covers behind him. But if England under Terry Venables think about playing with a sweeper, Ian Culverhouse has a case. Though that's not his role this afternoon, he's playing as a normal right back. Bowen. Newman. Crook. Ekoku and tail. Good shoulder. Too close to the goalkeeper, and then in, yes, by Sutton. Poor goal from Liverpool's point of view, but a good one from Norwich. Physical challenge of Ikoku was too much for the young man from Dumfries. The ball looked to be too close to Grobbelaar. Wright was in the way, didn't get hold of it. Sutton following through, his feet beat Grobbelaar's feet.